YouTube Kids started with a basic goal in mind, to have a separate version of the already popular website, but aimed towards a younger demographic. Even with that simple goal in mind, the content that was geared towards a young audience was and still is controversial, and it's extremely controversial because there's too many dark elements, and the website's restrictions and keeping it PG rated are horribly handled. The content itself seems to run on darker and more sinister themes than education or even just plain fun. So today, we're going to explore these elements and explain them one at a time. This is the 5 dark elements of YouTube Kids and why they occur in YouTube Kids videos. If you don't know what mesoophilia is, that's okay. It's not really a well-known term, but it's a sexual pregnancy. And too many of the more infamous and successful YouTube Kids videos include this fetish in full. And it's done atrociously for shock value more than anything remotely educational. It's also downright creepy, showing colorful cartoon characters, some of which are kids themselves, getting pregnant. And how they get that way is acted out in a scenario where a character physically and assaults them. It's extremely present in these videos, and they capitalize on popular children's characters to put them through these adult situations. The underage characters of PJ Masks and Paw Patrol are some of the most popular characters used for these unwanted pregnancy videos, and they're all done with the heavy innuendo of sexual assault, which segues into the second element present within these videos, which is known as sadomasochism. This element is heavily present or implied in a lot of these kids' videos. Sadomasochism is a combination of sadism, which is a feeling that is derived from the pleasure of inflicting pain, suffering, and humiliation on others, all for the benefit of the inflictor's sexualization. This is presented in a colorful and cheery manner in these videos. When we see these underage characters get put into adult situations that would be generally categorized as BDSM or self-harm to adults. This is starting to sound like the mind of Jeffrey Dahmer if he hosted Pee-wee's Playhouse. The content that provides this sort of activity presents it like it's a positive thing to engage in acts such as this. That is, the acts are void of a severe lack of empathy for others, and it shows that you can inflict pain on others and feel joy from it. These poor underage characters are assaulted and maimed in horrific ways. Absolutely and disgusting, shocking content that's being projected. We have underage characters who are assaulted and humiliated and become pregnant. And while they're pregnant, they get whipped, run over by trucks, or poisoned by needles, and suffer from extreme depression. This subject actually leads into another darker element of the YouTube Kids video, which is biastophilia and SSD. Biastophilia is the attraction to inflict sexual violence on an unconsenting other person or species. In other words, the R word. This is heavily present in the Paw Patrol and the creepy PJ Masks videos. One moment it seems like a benign and wholesome fan cartoon that within a few seconds it turns into the first 5 minutes of a Special Victims Unit episode. And it's never done in the least bit acceptable behavior. I'm not talking about like, oh, these are 2 characters that like each other. No. Instead it displays it as SSD, aroused to involuntary extreme pain and rage. But by far the worst underlying evidence of these YouTube Kids videos, and you knew this one is coming, are the subject of PDF file attraction. You knew this was coming in this video, because we're talking about self-labeled children's content on YouTube. Every single video has this underlying pedophilic aura around them, especially from the characters being displayed in these ways. There's an overwhelming amount of sexual tension and abuse going on within these characters, and it's not even trying to cover it up and make it subtle. And like how YouTube works, once you click on one of these videos, it leads you down a darker rabbit hole of the same kind of content. But now that we have discussed the 4 dark elements present within these kids' videos, the real big question that a lot of people have is why? Why is this content made like this? Aside from generating a lot of views from it, what exactly is the end goal of it all? It almost seems like a display of brainwashing effects. Children's minds absorb a lot of information in early development. Things they see, they'll sometimes replicate in their own way. I mean, really, how many of you tried copying something that happened in a cartoon, only to be disappointed when it didn't work? I sure as hell did, and almost hurt myself pretty bad from it. You know the scene in Flushed Away where Roddy and Rita use a plastic bag as kind of a parachute? Well, I got the bright idea of taking a large garbage bag and jumping off the top of my swing set with it, thinking that the bag filled with air will save me from my fall, and it did not, and I ate a face full of dirt. This makes me think of parents from the 90s and 2000s and how they expressed their extreme disdain for the way too happy all the time Barney the dinosaur, or even the abusive displays of affection that Caillou portrayed towards his sister Rosie. If only those parents could see what the new generation of children would be watching on their mobile devices, maybe in Caillou and Barney would have been seen as an award-winning example of a great children's content, despite the negatives they had. But anyway, off topic, back to what I was saying. The ultimate end goal of these videos by the creators of them is all for their own strange and disturbing gratification. So by teaching children to eat their own shit and act predatory towards each other and have a lack of empathy and respect towards others is what it seems like it's trying to teach. Bad behavior all around. The creators of this degenerative content want kids to reflect the behavior they portray in these cartoons, which is really fucked up. It's not that different from an adult grooming a minor into doing something extremely graphic, all for the adult's own benefit. So this seems like this content is being made all for the creator's own benefit. And it's not only just having ads or revenue generated from it, it wants to mind wash a bunch of children into displaying the same kind of behavior present within these videos, all for their own attraction to it, which is really sinister and creepy. And now, just to end this video off, just to show the hypocrisy of the AI that runs YouTube and monitors the guidelines in the community, I received a guideline strike last week for the original thumbnail I used for the massive crap I took on that smut Minecraft Kids channel. The thumbnail I had was an oversaturated version of an existing one from that channel, and it was probably the tamest looking thumbnail from that channel. But I received a strike for it. But let's put that into a shorter sentence so it sounds more ridiculous and hypocritical. So YouTube censors me for obscene content within the thumbnail, but doesn't go after the actual channel with 720 videos containing the same smut-ridden 18-plus thumbnail images that are far more graphic than the one I used. Well, stick a cactus in my ass and call me Miss Buttersworth. YouTube doesn't give a shit about rule violations. Like a man running naked in public while taking a crap at the same time. They don't give a shit, but only give shits to smaller creators. The channel that I called out had 5 million subscribers and kept making all this 18-plus Minecraft content and labeling it as for kids. But the moment I take one of their thumbnails, edit it, and put some lame-ass text over it, I'm the one that gets smacked with a guideline strike. And to make matters worse, and to make matters even more funny in that sense, the replacement that I received from YouTube to replace that quote-unquote obscene thumbnail was somehow worse than the one I originally used. Not exactly important to this video, but that genuinely just pissed me off. And, it's just like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, play favorites, why don't you? You're doing so good for the community. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Patreon is in the description as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.